Ron Edwards is a director at large of the Pitcairn Islands Study Group, and he lives in Melbourne, Australia. 55 years ago, through his philately, he was drawn to a set of Pitcairn stamps that showed scenes of Pitcairn Island, and he was fascinated by them. And then he started collecting everything Pitcairn. Well, you go to Ron's home in Melbourne, and you can't even get in the doors of 2 of the bedrooms because everything Pitcairn is in there. He has collected books, magazines, photographs, videos, stamps, DVDs, artifacts, and so much more. Everything is kept in his Melbourne, Australia home, and now Ron and his wife of 47 years, Maureen, are building a home on Norfolk Island. And Ted and I look forward to visiting you there on our next visit. Ron's current interest is Pitcairn coins. I had never heard of Pitcairn coins before, so this is a first for a lot of us. They've only been issued since 1988, and Ron's going to tell us all about them.
Thank you, Barbara. With that introduction, that's cut out a lot of this time factor to getting through what I have to discuss today. As Barbara said, I did start as a philatelist or a stamp collector, as most kids did in those days. But in the early days when you were a child, you collected stamps of anywhere and anywhere. It didn't matter what sort of condition it was. If it was a stamp, you collected by number. But of course, when you start getting into the workforce and earning a few dollars and you get a bit more choosy as to what you spend your money on, I collected a lot of British Commonwealth, kind of little British Empire stamps at the time it was. And I used to catch the steam train into Melbourne City, which is 31 miles from where I lived. And I was right in the rural part of Melbourne in those days. I used to catch a steam train in on a Saturday morning and returning home in the afternoon with my new issues of stamps. 1957 it was. I returned home going through the stamp issues, and I turned to the Pitcairn Island, and going through the new definitive issue at the time was an 8-penny value, which I've got on show here, and it depicts an elderly gent beside what appears to be a garden plot. Immediately turned to the family encyclopedia, looked up Pitcairn, referred to Bounty, Bly, etc., and through the years it's become an obsession. As Barbara said, in the houses, I've got 2 vacant bedrooms now because the children are gone, haven't I? Oh, 2 more bedrooms. Pile all more material in, so that's spread over 2 bedrooms, plus other stuff on the walls in the lounge room, and then multi-purpose room, etc., etc. I thought I had a considerable collection until I saw what the wonderful collection we have here, of course, is phenomenal. But I guess for an average private little individual man, it's quite substantial. So among all the collecting interests, as Barbara's and I've just mentioned on, I do collect anything and everything. If it's Pitcairn, Bounty, any related at Norfolk, anything at all, I must collect it and get it. So, of course, 1988, Pitcairn Island put out some coins, didn't they? So that consisted of a set of 3 coins at the time. There was $1 in the ordinary copper nickel, which is a silverish finish, which is a combination of copper and nickel. It's a silver coin like we get in most regular usage today. That was $1 value. And a lot of those were actually circulated on the island for some time. Along with that, though, they had put out a magnificent big size $50 coin, all silver, 5 ounces of silver. Supposed to be legally, it was legal tender, but I don't think your pockets would last too long if you start carrying those around the island. I see in one of those on stalls today, there are a couple for sale, but they have become a very collectible item today, so if anybody's interested, there's a couple out there I did see for sale. They also did put out a little gold coin as well of $250 value, which sold at the time for around $750. There again, not a collector's item, but it's like the way stamp collecting's gone. It's gone commercial and it's used as a revenue earner, as the same way as stamps have gone. In 1989, another similar set was put out, this time to commemorate the mutiny on the Bounty. This time they depicted an image of the Bounty, which at the time I had a standing order account with the British Royal Mint, and I saw a preview of what the design was going to be. So on it showed an image of the Bounty, magnificent image, but it showed the MGM version of the Bounty. which I would have thought on official currency and documentation of any sort, you should have a more accurate portrayal. So I notified the Mint about that I told them it was wrong and they should have contacted the National Maritime Museum, which is just down the road from them in Greenwich, and they would have been able to give them all the details they would require to produce a more accurate image. But anyway, it was too late to go into production, and I got a letter back anyway saying that I didn't know what I was talking about. So, oh well, anyway. But of course, as we know, when the Bethia was being converted to the Bounty, the masts were a bit tall for the southern seas, so Bligh ordered the mast lopped, and even en route at Cape Town he had them lowered a little bit more again. So there's no way could you rig 4 sails on one of the Bounty main masts. So anyway, they put that issue out, and they included another silver coin that year, the beginning of a bit more commercialisation again. In 1990, a similar set came out again to commemorate the bicentenary of establishment on Pitcairn of the little settlement. So that was 3 years of issuing some 10 coins at the time. Sales I don't think did too well. I did hear that I think they made about $130,000 odd royalties went to the Pitcairn government from those coins at the time. And I thought, oh, nothing more from the British Mint, and nothing happened for years. I visited Pitcairn in 1998. I was surprised that Tom and Betty had a few Pitcairn coins, 1997 coins. So I duly purchased a few from Tom, and I got back into seeking out these coins. But publicity has always been very, very haphazard, and promotion of the coins has been terrible, terrible. I've had some issues with authorities through the years on that one. And I'll skip a little bit here, but needless to say that in the 1997 issues, they were all minted by the Royal Mint. In 1999, the contract was awarded to the German Mint, and they put out several gold coins. This time, one of them, the Bounty, was depicted correctly, or as much as you can get on a tiny little coin. So that was well done. And the German Mint issued a few more coins in coming years. And then in 2006, after many years of no good distribution and publicity about these coins at all, 2006, the announcement was made that from January 2007, all Pitcairn coinage would be available at the Philatelic Bureau. I thought, terrific, at last, they're up with it, they're going to promote these coins and it'll all become more popular, etc., etc. Pobjoy Mint put out a coin in 2006, commemorating the 80th birthday of Queen Elizabeth. That one is still available today from the Philatelic Bureau. Obviously that contract didn't last very long, because they then reverted to a contract with the New Zealand Mint, who started putting out the coinage. And their first coins come out in 2008. There's a few very nice coins, $1 coins. There were several issues that year. Mainly commercial ones put out with a silver content, pure silver, 999, beautifully produced, and the full 1 ounce coins at a realistic price. 2009, the great blaze of publicity. Pitcairn are going to have their own circulating coins. So out come a set of 6 coins. They just have base metals. There's a 5 cent and 10 cent in copper, a 10 and 20 cent in copper and nickel, and a $1 and $2 in a brass finish coins. And they were to be circulated on the island. But I don't think any of them ever were actually circulated, although there were some presentation packs put together and sold at the post office on Pitcairn. And these were available at the New Zealand Mint and also at the Philatelic Bureau. There's a little bit of a problem with that. I've also had a bit of an issue with the New Zealand Mint. New Zealand Mint claimed that they minted these coins, but I have strong doubts. I think they were done under contract, possibly with the May Mint, I've learnt in recent days. One of the issues I had complained about on the copper coins they struck, they were very poorly produced. Very, very poor. In fact, I bought some of the coins, I bought loose actually, that were only available in England, Europe and US of A, but normally in New Zealand and Pitcairn, etc., they're only available in the presentation pack at $55 for, I think it's about $3.80 face value. Yes, looking at Mark here, agreeing with some of the commercialism. Yes, so anyway, some of the loose coins did become available. So when I was able to purchase a few of these loose coins from Germany initially, I brought them home and looked at them. The 1 cent coin, I tell you, it was so poorly cut that I put one on my arm and it scraped the hairs off it. Now that's very, very poor to say the least. So I was told, oh, the few must have slipped through the quality controls, etc., etc. I said, okay, I'll take that one. 2010, another set came out similar. This time they changed the design of the $2 value to have an image of the Bounty. Wrong again, MGM version. But anyway, after I had been promised from the New Zealand Mint that they had corrected the design. Okay. So also on that issue, after it was issued a little while, the presentation pack, etc., I got old eBay. I saw a dealer in Germany selling a presentation pack, beautiful presentation pack of the coins, and this one had an additional $2 coin in it. A silver, copper, nickel. I had no mention of that from authorities. Contacted the dealer. He couldn't tell me anything about it. Okay, I've got to have a couple of these sets anyway because I'm not a collector. Got to have it. So when I received them, I opened the certificate. Authorised by the government, Pitcairn Island government. Charles Marshall signs it off on it. Terrific. Oh, that's great authority. That must be a legitimate issue. Hello. Contact a couple of people in administration. Who's this Charles Marshall? I'll get back to you. A few weeks later, who's this Charles Marshall? Found anything? Nothing. Can't find out who Charles Marshall is. So, I don't know. Beautiful coin, supposed to be authorised by the administration, but we don't know who this fellow is that authorised it. So, anyway, being a collector, you've got to have it. Moves on. Now, I did bypass a little one in here. In 2006, there was one German coin also slipped through that I only ever found on eBay, subject to because of this lack of publicity and promotion, etc., etc. It was a coin commemorating a reenactment voyage of a ship called the Gothberg from Sweden to China, a reenactment voyage. I have only ever seen 3 of those ever available. Believe me, I've got piles of paperwork writing to dealers and emails and things in recent years all around the world seeking coins and all sorts of things. 3 only have I ever seen of that coin. I was able to purchase the first one on eBay. Another one that I did see appear was in a collection, which the fellow wouldn't break up. And the third one recently, I thought, I've got to have this, got to have at least 2 of everything. I put a bid in. I thought it was going to be a buy bid. I'll get this, all right, I'll pay some ridiculous price. It went for $165. So somebody needed much more than I did, apparently. So, and there again, that one, I've never been able to find out any background of it. In 2008, with the New Zealand Mint taking over the operations, they put out a beautiful set of coins showing the Bounty. There was several values. There's 2 $1 coins and a couple of other coins, a mini gold coin and a large gold coin. Beautiful production. These were available from the New Zealand Mint and from the Bureau. Very expensive, very well produced, but if you were to buy a full collection of those housed in the presentation box that they put together, which also come with a miniature sectant a replica of what was used back in the Bounty days, and that would set you back around $1,000 to buy the full collection today. So, but anyway, it was beautifully done and well presented, but just a bit of blatant commercialism possibly. I mean, that's fine by me. If a bit of revenue goes back to the island, by all means I'd support it fully. Apparently in recent times I have been pushing for circulation of some coins. I realise that there's no real need for circulatory coins on Pitcairn because they've made use for many years with coins of most nations, any ship's call, yacht's call, whatever, and they'll use coins, US, Australian, New Zealand, whatever it comes available. And they also, when they accumulate so many, it's packaged off, sent off to New Zealand for banking anyway. Or because on the island they don't need as much as coinage. But my theory is, and I've pushed it to the administration, that if they were to issue even a small quantity of perhaps these very cheap to produce basic coin sets like in 2009-10, which would cost them, well, the face value of say $3.80 or whatever it was, would only cost a few cents to mint a few sets more above the top of the presentation sets for collectors, and they should put a few in circulation. I believe that a few may get circulated, but even if they weren't, I think the islanders would pick them up, they would package them in some sort of format, in a presentation format of some sort that they could in turn sell off to as souvenirs to the passenger ships that call mainly in the early part of the year and to visiting yachts, etc., etc. I think they'd be snapped up to have a sort of genuine little Pitcairn related souvenir at a very moderate price. And I'm still pushing that angle, but it's still falling on deaf ears, regrettably. But I still will work on it, I'm sure you. So anyway, I have abbreviated my talk considerably, Barbara, and I've eliminated quite a few things. But anybody who is interested at all in coinage today, I do have a few copies with me of the 63 coins that will be as of day after tomorrow. There's 2 new coins coming up being issued in Europe, showing deep sea life coins. But there will be 63 coins in total that have been issued with authority and permission of the Pitcairn authorities. I have a brief listing here, just a short listing. They're available. I've got about 10 or 12 copies if somebody wants them. If I haven't got enough and somebody wants them, give me an email address or something and I'll zap it to you. I also am preparing a full catalogue of Pitcairn coins, illustrated with full details. I have got a draft copy. I was hoping I would have had it done before this conference. For the moment, it's just in a crude draft. I've got a copy of that with me, and I will leave with Herb for his reference within the library, but I will make general publicity relating to that when I do have it finally ready. Anyway, so hopefully what I've said today has enlightened people on an aspect of Pitcairn that probably know very little of, and hopefully it's something that may lead on a little from there. So thank you for listening and good luck.